When was the last time someone truly underestimated you? Looked at you and saw nothing special, just another face, another name, another forgettable soul moving through life. Maybe they smiled politely, maybe they dismissed you quietly, but deep down you felt it, the sting, the quiet fire it left behind. You've carried that moment with you. You've replayed it, not because of the pain, but because something inside you refused to accept it. You know you're capable of more. You just haven't shown the world yet. Every person who's ever built an unshakable mind started exactly where you are now, somewhere between doubt and determination. They weren't born with steel in their thoughts or calm in their pulse. They forged it, slowly, painfully, relentlessly. While others drowned in emotion, they learned to swim in it. While the world screamed for attention, they built silence inside themselves. A silence so deep it unsettled anyone who tried to break it. That's the kind of mind we're about to awaken. A strong mind isn't loud. It doesn't need to prove itself. It doesn't chase validation. It creates gravity. People feel it before they understand it. It's the kind of presence that doesn't ask for respect. It commands it. But to reach that level, you'll have to dismantle everything that's been holding you back. Every thought of weakness, every reflex to please, every fear that's kept you quiet when you should have spoken. You'll have to face yourself without filters, without excuses, because this strength isn't built through comfort. It's built through confrontation. The truth is, most people never build real strength because they never sit still long enough to hear their own chaos. They run from discomfort, hide behind distractions, fill every silence with noise. They avoid the mirror because they're afraid of what it might say. But the mind you're about to build, the one that paralyzes people, it's born in that silence. It's born in the space where most people break. It's not about arrogance or dominance. It's about mastery, control, presence. You've been told to toughen up, to stop caring, to block out emotion. That's not strength. Real strength isn't about shutting down. It's about tuning in. It's the ability to feel everything but not be ruled by anything. It's the control to stand in the middle of chaos and not flinch. When everyone else panics, you remain still. When they lose control, you remain grounded. That's the power that stops people in their tracks. They can't understand how you stay so composed, how nothing seems to touch you. But you'll know, it's not that nothing touches you. It's that you decide what stays. Every person who ever made others fall silent in their presence didn't do it through intimidation. They did it through certainty. There's something magnetic about someone who knows exactly who they are and doesn't need to explain it. Their energy speaks louder than any words could. They've learned to channel focus, to protect it like gold. Every doubt, every insult, every rejection, they turned it into fuel. That's what you're capable of. And it doesn't require special talent. Only the willingness to fight the battle inside your own head until you win. The process isn't glamorous. It's lonely. It's brutal. You'll question yourself. You'll face parts of your mind you've tried to ignore. But each time you stand your ground against your own weakness, your foundation hardens. You start to notice small changes. The noise around you loses power. The opinions that once crushed you start to fade. People sense something different about you, something they can't name. You no longer chase approval. You radiate certainty. And that shift, that's what paralyzes people. Not fear, not intimidation, but realization. They see in you what they've been too afraid to become. They recognize the discipline they abandoned, the control they never built, the silence they've been avoiding. You become a mirror they can't look away from. That's what a strong mind does. It doesn't shout to be seen. It simply exists, steady and unmoved, while the rest of the world trembles in comparison. This isn't about changing who you are. It's about uncovering who you were meant to be before the world told you to shrink. You've had that power inside you all along. The power to stay calm, to stay sharp, to stay in control when everything around you falls apart. You just forgot how to access it, but you're remembering now. And once you remember, once you taste that clarity, you'll never go back. Because a mind that's truly strong doesn't dominate others. It liberates itself. And when you reach that point, the world won't know how to handle you. They'll just stop and feel your presence. Most people never realize how much of their life is dictated by fear. Not fear of danger, but fear of failure, rejection, judgment. They play small because the thought of standing out terrifies them more than the pain of staying stuck. But not you. Not anymore. You felt the weight of potential pressing against your chest for too long to ignore it. You're done pretending you're average. There's a fire inside you that's tired of being caged, and every word you're hearing right now is fuel for that fire. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to be the kind of presence that makes people stop and think before they speak. The shift begins when you stop looking for permission. No one is going to hand you strength. No one is coming to save you. Every excuse, every delay, every moment of hesitation, that's the enemy inside your own head. You either control it or it controls you. The difference between those who rise and those who remain is simple: decisions. A strong mind decides to act long before it feels ready. It moves forward through fear, through doubt, through pain. And every time it does, something powerful happens. The noise fades, the hesitation weakens, the self-belief grows. You don't build strength by waiting for confidence. You build confidence by choosing to move while fear still lingers. That's where power is forged. The world doesn't respond to those who wish. It responds to those who move. When you take control of your mind, you stop waiting for ideal moments. You create them. You stop chasing opportunities. You become one. That's when people begin to notice. They don't understand what changed, but they feel it. It's not arrogance. It's presence. It's clarity. But clarity comes at a price. You'll lose people. The ones who thrived on your uncertainty won't recognize you anymore. They'll sense the shift in your tone, your focus, your silence, and it will unsettle them. You'll notice how the world resists anyone who refuses to remain ordinary. But that resistance is the proof you're on the right path. Every challenge, every doubt, every attempt to pull you back is confirmation that you're rising. The weak minds around you will try to make you question your growth because your strength exposes their comfort. Stay the course. They don't hate you. They fear the reflection you show them. You can't afford to go back, not after coming this far. You've seen too much, felt too much, grown too much to shrink again. The mind you're building now is a fortress, solid, grounded, unstoppable. Every time you say no to distraction, every time you stay calm when others lose control, every time you keep moving when your body wants to quit, you lay another stone in that fortress. And when it's complete, nothing, no insult, no loss, no fear can break through. That's when you become dangerous. Not because you seek conflict, but because nothing can disturb your peace. The moment you master yourself, you control everything. The chaos around you becomes irrelevant. You no longer react, you decide. Every situation, no matter how chaotic, becomes a stage where your stillness speaks louder than words. People sense that control, and it unnerves them. They can't predict you, can't sway you, can't shake you. That's the power of a mind that's been tested and never broken. That's the kind of power that silences rooms, that commands respect without a word being said. But this power isn't given. It's earned, moment by moment, choice by choice. It's built in solitude, in the dark, when no one is watching. It's built when you face your weaknesses instead of hiding from them. When you decide to rise instead of retreat. When you push through the noise and remind yourself that every second of hesitation is another chance slipping away. You don't have time to be average anymore. You don't have space for fear. You've carried potential long enough. It's time to let the world feel it. Your mind is the foundation of everything. Master it, and you master life itself. The world bends to those who have mastered their inner state because they're no longer moved by chaos. They create order in it. You can be that force. You can be the calm in the storm, the strength in the silence, the mind so focused, so unshakable that it leaves others frozen in your presence. Not through intimidation, but through undeniable truth. You've become everything they told you was impossible. And once you reach that point, you don't just change your life. You redefine what power means. You weren't meant to live on autopilot. You weren't built to wake up, repeat the same motions, and call that living. Somewhere along the way, life numbed you. You stopped asking questions. You stopped demanding more from yourself. You started believing the lie that we're just another face in the crowd, but deep inside there's still a spark that refuses to die. You feel it when you're quiet, when the noise fades and the world slows down. That voice inside you, the one that says there's more, it's not lying. It's your potential calling for resurrection. And every moment you ignore it, you drift further from the person you were meant to become. A strong mind begins with rebellion, not against the world, but against weakness, against the urge to settle, to quit, to hide. It's built through the moments no one sees, the mornings you don't want to move but do anyway, the nights when everything in you wants to stop but you keep going. Each act of defiance rewires your mind. Each refusal to surrender sharpens your edge. That's how warriors are built, not through comfort but through resistance. You've already survived worse than what's ahead. The proof that you can rise is the fact that you're still standing. So now you stop surviving and start conquering. The world will never make room for your greatness. You have to take it, not by force, but by consistency. You win not because you're faster or smarter, but because you refuse to give up. Every obstacle is a test, and the universe is watching how you respond. Will you collapse like the rest, or will you keep pushing until the wall cracks? People quit when results don't come fast enough, but the strong know the truth. Patience is power. You don't rush progress. You earn it, brick by brick, hour by hour, until momentum becomes unstoppable. And once it starts, nothing can slow it down. Discipline is the proof that you're serious about your future. Every time you say no to weakness, you're rewriting your destiny. The mind you're building doesn't chase pleasure. It creates purpose. You begin to see the world differently. Every delay becomes a lesson. Every setback becomes strategy. You no longer ask, why me? You ask, what can I learn? That's when everything changes. You stop being a victim of your emotions. You become their master. And once you control your emotions, you control your world. Most people waste their energy trying to impress others. They crave attention because they've never built self-respect. But a strong mind doesn't need applause. It finds validation in its own reflection. You'll reach a point where peace becomes more valuable than approval, where solitude feels like power instead of punishment. That's when the noise dies. That's when clarity hits. The moment you stop begging to be seen is the moment you become unforgettable. People won't understand your calm. They'll confuse it with arrogance. But you'll know it's self-mastery. It's what happens when you fought your inner wars and come out undefeated. You'll start to move differently, speak less, listen more. Your silence will become louder than other people's shouting. Your focus will disturb them because they've never known that kind of control. You'll stop explaining your dreams. You'll just build them. And the same people who doubted you will start asking how you did it, but you won't need to answer. Your results will speak for themselves, because true power doesn't announce itself. It arrives quietly, fully formed, undeniable. But this isn't just about you. A strong mind changes everything it touches. It inspires others to rise, to question, to evolve. It becomes a force that reshapes reality. When you walk into a room with calm certainty, people feel it. They adjust. They listen differently. That's not magic, it's mastery. The energy you've cultivated demands attention without saying a word. You've become the example that others secretly wish to follow. You've become proof that discipline, focus, and resilience still means something in a world addicted to shortcuts. So don't stop now. You're closer than you think. Every struggle has been preparing you for this moment. The moment you finally step into the version of yourself that doesn't flinch, doesn't doubt, doesn't fear. The version that moves with purpose and refuses to be shaken. You built this power piece by piece, and now it's time to use it. Let the world feel the strength of your silence, the force of your focus, the gravity of your presence. Because when your mind reaches this level, you don't just change how people see you, you change how they see themselves. And that's when you become unstoppable. You've already felt the shift inside you, that quiet certainty that you're not who you used to be. You can feel the distance growing between who you were and who you're becoming. And that's exactly how it's supposed to feel. Uncomfortable, uncertain, powerful. Growth isn't supposed to be gentle. It tears through everything. Soft and convenient, demanding a higher version of you. You can't carry old habits into a new life. You can't drag doubt into a place built on confidence. You're evolving, and evolution is never painless. Every time you refuse to break, you're reshaping your identity. You're not reacting anymore, you're choosing. That's the difference between the lost and the powerful. The strong don't wait for life to happen to them. They design it. They rewrite every rule that was written to keep them small. And the more you do it, the more unstoppable you become, because control is addictive. Once you taste it, once you feel what it's like to hold your emotions in the palm of your hand, you can never go back to being ruled by them. You stop being tossed by every wave. You become the ocean. And that's when people start to notice. They won't understand the source of your calm, but they'll feel it. They'll sense the depth behind your silence, the danger in your composure. You won't have to prove anything. Your presence will speak for itself. You'll walk into rooms and the energy will shift. Conversations will slow. Eyes will follow. Not because you said a word, but because your energy demands awareness. That's the kind of control that paralyzes people, not through force, but through stillness. They'll sense the weight of your self-mastery, and it will remind them of what they've lost, the power they gave away by living on autopilot. You're not here to compete. You're here to dominate your own potential. Every day you wake up, you're given two choices: to remain who you are or to become something greater. Most people choose the comfort of yesterday. You can't. You've seen too much of what's possible. You've felt too much fire to crawl back into the ashes. The world will always try to drag you into its noise, but you've learned to listen to silence instead. Silence is where your power grows. It's where clarity sharpens. It's where purpose speaks. You can't keep waiting for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. There is only now. The decision, the action, the transformation. Every second you hesitate, the weaker version of you tightens its grip. But every moment you move with intent, that version dies a little more. You're not supposed to feel ready. Readiness is an illusion built to keep you waiting. Strength comes from stepping into the unknown and refusing to flinch. The faster you move through fear, the faster fear loses its voice. And yes, it will hurt. Building mental strength always does. You'll have days where your mind tries to break you, where the old thoughts claw their way back, whispering that it's easier to stop, but you won't, because you've seen what quitting costs. You've lived with that pain before, the pain of regret, the pain of wondering what could have been. You're done living in that shadow. You've chosen the pain that leads to power, the discomfort that forges control, the suffering that builds peace. That's the kind of pain worth enduring. Every step forward is a declaration: I am not my fears, I am not my past, I am not who I was yesterday. You are rewriting your identity with every decision. You're teaching your mind that you're in charge now. You're proving that focus isn't a skill, it's a lifestyle. The distractions that used to pull you apart don't have power anymore. You've built too much awareness to be ruled by chaos. You've become immune to noise. That's what mental dominance feels like. Unshakable stillness in a storm. And when that stillness becomes your default state, you'll understand something profound. Power was never about control over others. It was always about control over yourself. The ability to walk away when others chase, to stay calm when others panic, to stay disciplined when others fold. That's real strength. That's rare. And when people see it, they freeze, not because they fear you, but because they recognize what they lost in themselves. This is the moment where everything changes. Not because the world suddenly respects you, but because you no longer need it to. You've built something unbreakable inside you. You've learned that a strong mind doesn't react, it radiates. It doesn't demand, it attracts. And once you reach that level, life bends in your direction. So stand tall, breathe deep. Let the world feel your silence. You've earned it. You've become the storm everyone else thought they could weather. Now, let them feel what unshakable truly means. Power like this comes with a cost. The moment you decide to rise, everything that isn't built to grow with you starts to fall away. People will drift. Habits will break. Parts of you that once felt safe will begin to burn. That's the price of becoming unshakable. You can't stay attached to what keeps you small. You'll feel the pull of old comfort, the temptation to go back to what's easy, but you've come too far. You've tasted clarity, and nothing compares to that. You've seen what your mind is capable of when it stops begging for permission. Now the only way forward is through mastery. You can't build a strong mind by avoiding struggle. You build it by standing in the fire and realizing you won't melt. Every moment of pressure is an opportunity. Pressure reveals truth. It strips away weakness, excuses, and noise until all that's left is you. And that's where transformation happens. Most people never get there because they run when it gets hard, but the strong don't run. They stand still, they face it, they let it hurt, and then they use that pain as fuel. That's what separates those who wish from those who win. There's a point where discipline stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like identity. You stop forcing yourself to do the hard things. You simply do them because they're who you are now. That's the shift. That's when your mind stops resisting growth and starts craving it. You begin to realize that every test, every moment of chaos is just another chance to prove your control. You stop being shaken by failure because you understand failure doesn't define you. It sharpens you. Every time you fall and rise again, your foundation becomes unbreakable. The world will try to break your focus. It will tempt you with comfort, distract you with noise, and feed you lies about what matters. But a powerful mind sees through it all. It recognizes that most people are prisoners of their own attention. They hand it away freely and then wonder why their life feels empty. Not you. You've learned to guard your focus like it's sacred. Because it is. Where your attention goes, your power flows. And when you learn to direct it intentionally, you become unstoppable. You stop reacting, you start creating. You'll start to notice something strange. The more control you gain over your thoughts, the less the world can affect you. Insults lose their bite. Doubt loses its voice. Fear loses its grip. You realize that nothing external can touch a mind that refuses to yield. That's the secret the world doesn't want you to know. Control the inner world and the outer world bends to you. It's not magic, it's mental precision. It's the quiet dominance of someone who no longer lets emotion dictate direction. But don't mistake peace for weakness. The calm you carry now, it's power under control. It's confidence without arrogance. It's danger restrained by discipline. People will sense it. They'll feel your stillness and not know how to interpret it. Some will respect it. Others will fear it. But all will notice it because true strength doesn't shout. It radiates. And when you walk in that energy, the world adjusts around you. You won't have to demand attention. You'll command it by existing. This is the level most never reach because it requires total surrender to growth. You must be willing to outgrow every version of yourself that no longer serves you. You must be ruthless with your own mediocrity. That's how greatness is born, not from talent, not from luck, but from brutal honesty and relentless self-control. The mind you're building doesn't seek motivation. It builds momentum. And once that momentum starts, it becomes a force no one can stop. So now you decide what kind of power you want to carry. The kind that fades when the world tests it, or the kind that grows stronger every time it's challenged. You already know which one feels right. The hunger you feel right now isn't random. It's your potential screaming to be unleashed. You've spent enough time preparing, waiting, doubting. It's time to act. It's time to step fully into the strength you've built, because the truth is, the world doesn't need another dreamer. It needs someone who's willing to turn silence into presence, pressure into precision, and pain into power. That someone is you. And once you accept that, everything changes. You stop chasing validation because your purpose becomes your proof. You stop explaining your path because your results will do it for you. You stop fearing judgment because nothing anyone says can touch a mind that's mastered itself. You become a force, a reminder that true power isn't about controlling others. It's about mastering the only thing that ever mattered, your mind. The mind you've built is no longer fragile. It doesn't need validation or protection. It's sharp, unyielding, aware. You've learned to sit with pain without begging it to end. You've learned to walk through fear without asking for the lights to turn on. That kind of strength doesn't just change how you think. It changes how you exist. You start to move differently. You start to see the world, not as it is, but as it could be if you stay disciplined enough to bend it. That's when you realize your mind isn't just a weapon. It's a kingdom. Every thought is a soldier, every belief a ruler. And the moment you take control, nothing can overthrow you. But here's what most people never understand. Real power doesn't scream. It doesn't chase. It doesn't need to prove anything. Power waits. It watches. It calculates. Because when you know who you are, silence becomes your advantage. You let others rush, react, expose their weakness. You stay still. You let time work for you. That's how the strong win. Not through noise, but through patience. You become a mirror, forcing others to confront their own chaos. They see your control, and it unsettles them because it shows them everything they've lost. You've reached a place where emotion no longer controls your judgment. You feel it, you acknowledge it, but it doesn't steer you. You've learned to pause before reacting, to breathe before breaking, to think before speaking. That control gives you a kind of authority that can't be faked. You can walk into any situation and bend it toward calm. You can turn conflict into focus, fear into fuel. The world listens to people who've mastered themselves because they carry a truth that can't be ignored. And that truth is this: you are the architect of your reality. Every limitation you've ever believed was a choice. Every ceiling you've hit was self-imposed. When you understand that, the excuses die. The fear dissolves. You stop saying, "I can't," and start asking, "How?" You stop living as a reaction to life and start shaping life as a reflection of your will. That's where real freedom begins. Not in wealth, not in status, but in control. Control over your thoughts, your focus, your direction. But control means sacrifice. It means trading comfort for growth, distractions for depth, weakness for discipline. It means saying no to everything that dulls your edge. Most people won't understand why you distance yourself, why you move differently, why you no longer seek company in chaos. Let them wonder. You owe no explanation for your evolution. Growth is lonely because few have the courage to face themselves. But that's where you win, in solitude, in silence, in the moments no one sees. That's where you sharpen the blade of your mind until it's unstoppable. When you start living like this, life begins to shift. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop begging for opportunities and start creating them. The energy you project becomes magnetic. People feel your focus before you speak. They sense your certainty, and it forces them to rise or retreat. That's not arrogance. It's the natural result of alignment. When your mind and your actions move as one, the world has no choice but to adjust. That's how leaders are made. Not by title, but by presence. You're not building this strength for applause. You're building it because you've realized one truth: peace without power is fragile. You need both. You need the calm that keeps you grounded and the fire that keeps you moving. Too many people choose one and lose both. But you found the balance. You've built a mind that's ruthless in focus, yet grounded in peace. That's the rarest kind of power there is. The kind that doesn't just inspire, it transforms. You've reached a point of no return. The version of you that hesitated, that doubted, that feared, it's gone. The world will try to test you again, but you won't break. You've seen your strength. You've tasted what it feels like to be in control, and you'll never give that up. You've built something permanent, something unshakable. And now every room you walk into will feel that energy. Every word you speak will carry that weight. You don't need to force it. You just need to be it. Because when your mind reaches this level, the world doesn't just see your strength. They feel it. And that's when you become unforgettable. You've stepped into a level of awareness most people never reach. You've tasted the silence that comes with strength, the kind of silence that doesn't need validation, doesn't need to be understood. It's the silence of someone who's seen the chaos, walked through it, and learned how to command it. You no longer chase peace. You create it. You no longer seek control. You are control. That's when you realize this isn't about winning anymore. It's about mastering existence itself. The war you've been fighting was never against others. It's always been against the limits you accepted without question. And now, those limits are burning away. The more power you build, the more the world will try to test it. It will come in whispers, in distractions, in subtle doubts that ask if you still have the strength to stay the course. That's the trap. Comfort disguised as peace, hesitation disguised as logic. But you've learned the truth. A calm life without purpose is a slow death. You weren't made to fade quietly. You were made to leave an impact, to disturb the air when you walk into a room, to make people feel something even when you say nothing. That's the kind of power that can't be given. It can only be earned through relentless self-confrontation. You've spent years building the discipline most people only dream about. The discipline to act when others hesitate, to stay silent when others speak, to stand firm when others collapse. That's why you stand out, because your consistency is louder than their excuses. Every day you keep pushing forward. Your identity hardens. You stop asking if you're capable. You start asking, what's next? And that's when life begins to bend to your will, because the universe rewards the ones who keep moving. Not the loudest, not the smartest, the most relentless. But even now, there's another level waiting for you. You can feel it, the quiet restlessness that pushes you to grow beyond your current limits. You can't stop here. You've built too much to settle. Every day you wait is a day you drift back into the ordinary. The mind you forged demands momentum. It craves challenge. It thrives in motion. Stagnation is the death of power, and you are not meant to die while you're still alive. You've been given awareness for a reason, to lead yourself out of mediocrity and into mastery. Every time you act on that awareness, you break a chain. You break the chain of doubt that once held you still. You break the chain of fear that once silenced you. You break the chain of conformity that once made you shrink to fit the room. That's what strength does. It frees. And the more you free yourself, the more others will follow. Because true leadership doesn't require followers. It simply requires authenticity. When you live in alignment with who you are, people can't help but notice. They see the courage in your calm, the danger in your stillness, the confidence in your restraint. They don't understand it, but they feel it. And that's why your journey matters. You're not just building a strong mind for yourself. You're building an example of what's possible when someone refuses to quit. You're proving that clarity, discipline, and peace can coexist. You're proving that control doesn't kill emotion, it perfects it. Every choice you make becomes a ripple. Every time you stay calm in chaos, someone watching learns that they can too. That's how power spreads, not through dominance, but through demonstration. But don't mistake this for the end. The mind doesn't stay strong by celebrating its victories. It stays strong by staying sharp. You must protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. The moment you grow careless, the world will try to reclaim your focus, but you've come too far to give it back. You know what it cost to reach this point. You know the pain, the silence, the sacrifice. That's what makes this power so real. It's paid for in full. And once you've paid that price, you owe it to yourself to never lower your standards again. This is where you become unbreakable, not because life stops testing you, but because you stop breaking. You face the storm and realize you are the storm. You carry calm like a weapon and presence like armor. The same world that once ignored you will now revolve around your focus, not out of fear, but out of recognition. You've built the kind of mind that doesn't just survive pressure, it thrives under it. And when people see that, they'll freeze, they'll hesitate, they'll wonder how you became what they couldn't. And you'll know the truth. You didn't change who you are. You simply remembered what you were always meant to be. The moment you stop seeking validation, something inside you shifts. You no longer crave to be seen, understood, or accepted. You become your own standard. That's when power begins to radiate from you, not the kind that needs to be announced, but the kind that demands silence. The world feels it before it understands it. People sense your focus before you say a word. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. It's the quiet realization that you've built something inside yourself that no one can touch. And once you reach that point, you stop being affected by noise. The chaos outside no longer determines the calm within. But this state doesn't come from luck. It's born in the moments when you refuse to fold, when the weight feels unbearable and you still choose to rise, when no one believes in you, yet you keep moving. That's where strength is carved. Every setback becomes a sharpening stone. Every failure, a teacher. Every silence, a test of your resolve. Most people run from these moments, but you face them head on. You let the discomfort shape you, not break you. And slowly, you realize that everything you feared was only a reflection of your own hesitation. Once you step through it, fear dissolves, doubt collapses. You become the proof that nothing external has the power to stop you. The mind you're building isn't built on comfort. It's built on control. Not control over others, but control over yourself. over your reactions, your impulses, your emotions. That's where true dominance lies, when you no longer need to respond to every distraction, every opinion, every temptation. You become untouchable. You conserve energy. You move with precision. You begin to think, speak, and act with purpose. Every move becomes intentional. That's what paralyzes people. It's not just your confidence, it's your composure. They can't understand how you stay so calm when they would have already crumbled. That's when you realize they don't fear your strength. They fear their reflection in it. This is what separates you from the rest. While others chase instant gratification, you chase mastery. While they seek comfort, you seek clarity. You don't need to prove your worth. You demonstrate it through consistency. You don't shout about your goals, you embody them. And in that silence, something extraordinary happens. People start paying attention. Not because you ask them to, but because they can't ignore what you've become. You represent what they wish they could be. Unshaken, focused, powerful. But what they don't see are the battles you fought in the dark, the nights you questioned yourself but kept going anyway, the sacrifices that built your stillness. That's the unseen truth of strength. It's never loud, it's forged in silence. And now, you stand on the edge of something greater, the kind of transformation that doesn't just change how you live, it changes who you are. You've already proven you can survive. Now it's time to conquer, to stop reacting and start creating, to take everything that once broke you and turn it into the very foundation of your power. Because the same pressure that once crushed you can also forge you. The same pain that once blinded you can also sharpen your vision. It's not about avoiding the struggle. It's about mastering it. When you stop running from your challenges and start using them, nothing can hold you back. But remember, strength without purpose is just noise. You weren't meant to build a strong mind just to stand still. You were meant to lead yourself, to become the example others didn't have. Every choice you make echoes beyond you. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, someone else gains courage to do the same. That's the quiet ripple effect of power. It doesn't need attention, it commands it. You're not here to compete. You're here to create a standard that others must rise to meet. So keep going, keep building, keep sharpening your mind until every thought, every action, every moment aligns with your purpose. Let people wonder how you stay so composed, so unbothered, so certain. Let them question it. Let them feel it. Because that's how a strong mind works. It doesn't chase influence, it radiates it. You don't speak to prove, you speak to shift the atmosphere. You don't move to be seen. You move because you've already seen what others can't. That's the kind of strength that paralyzes people. Not through intimidation, but through mastery. And once you've built it, no one can take it from you. There comes a point when silence becomes your greatest weapon. You stop explaining yourself. You stop defending your choices. You let your actions speak, and they roar louder than any words ever could. That's when people start to feel it. The weight of your presence, not because you're trying to dominate, but because you no longer seek permission to exist. You've outgrown the need to be understood. You've stepped into a higher level of clarity, and that clarity radiates power. You move differently. You think differently. You carry a sense of purpose that unsettles those who still live on autopilot. It's not that you intimidate them intentionally. It's that your strength exposes their hesitation. This kind of power can't be faked. It's born from the moments you thought you were finished, but still kept going. The days when you had nothing left and still showed up. The nights when your mind screamed to quit, but your soul refused. Those moments don't just build resilience, they sculpt identity. You stop being someone who tries, you become someone who simply does. The line between fear and power begins to blur, and you realize they've always been two sides of the same coin. You don't need to erase fear, you need to master it. You use it as fuel. You turn every doubt, every scar, every failure into momentum. That's how the mind hardens, by turning pain into precision. But power has a price. You will lose people. You will confuse those who once thought they knew you. They will say you've changed, when in truth you've simply evolved beyond their comfort. The version of you they loved no longer exists because that version needed approval. That version needed validation. You don't. And that's where freedom begins, when you no longer need to be liked to stay grounded. When your peace isn't dependent on agreement. When your self-worth no longer bends to anyone's perception. That's when the world loses its grip on you. And that's when you become truly dangerous, not to others, but to the weakness that once controlled you. You start noticing how people react when you walk into a room. Some go quiet, some shift uncomfortably, others stare, unable to explain why. It's not what you wear, it's not what you say, it's the energy you carry, the discipline that has shaped you into something rare. People can sense when someone has gone through the fire and come out refined. They can feel when someone has stopped chasing and started attracting. You no longer seek attention. Attention finds you. That's what paralyzes them. The realization that you operate from a place they can't reach without destroying the lies they still live in. But you can't stop here. Power without direction becomes destruction. You must channel it, aim it, let your strength serve something greater than ego. Let it create, not just command. Because real power isn't about control. It's about contribution. It's the ability to move through chaos and still choose purpose over pride. That's what separates strength from dominance. Anyone can demand attention. Few can command respect. Respect is built through discipline, through consistency, through the quiet work that no one sees but everyone feels. Every single day you have a choice to return to the old patterns or to reinforce the new ones. Every thought is a brick, every action a foundation. You are building the architecture of your mind, and the structure you create will determine how high you rise. You can't afford to let weakness seep in through excuses. You can't afford to let fear dictate your movements. The world belongs to those who can master their internal dialogue, who can turn chaos into clarity, emotion into execution. That's the art of strength, the power to control yourself so completely that life has no choice but to bend in your favor. So keep building, keep refining. Let every challenge sharpen your focus. Let every moment of doubt remind you of how far you've come. You are not competing with anyone else. You're sculpting yourself into something unshakable. Mind so clear that confusion can't touch it. A spirit so strong that pressure becomes oxygen. That's the level where true power lives. The level where your presence alone shifts the energy in any room. Because when you've mastered yourself, the world doesn't just notice. It pauses, it stares, it recalibrates around you. And that's when you know you've built a mind so strong, it paralyzes people. You reach a stage where doubt no longer feels like an enemy. It becomes a test. Every whisper that tells you you can't becomes a signal that you're exactly where you need to be. You stop seeing resistance as a barrier and start recognizing it as a compass pointing toward growth. The struggle is no longer something you run from, it's something you respect. Because now you understand. The heavier the weight, the stronger the mind it forges. Every challenge is a mirror reflecting your potential back at you. And every time you choose to face it instead of hide from it, you evolve into something the old you could never handle. That's how transformation works. Quietly, brutally, completely. People will start to notice something different about you. They'll sense the distance, but they won't understand it. They'll call it arrogance when it's really focus. They'll call it coldness when it's really clarity. Because you no longer react to noise. You don't chase validation. You've learned to be fueled by purpose, not approval. That shift terrifies people because it reminds them how dependent they are on being seen. But you've stepped into a level where external noise no longer determines your direction. You're driven by something deeper, an internal fire that doesn't fade when no one's watching. That's the kind of energy people can feel without a word. And when that energy grows, the world begins to respond differently. You notice how opportunities start finding you instead of you chasing them. You notice how people start hesitating before they speak to you, as if they can feel that your time is valuable, your focus sacred. That's not luck. It's discipline compounded over time. It's the quiet consistency that builds an invisible force around you. The type of power that doesn't need to be announced because it's undeniable. The kind of power that walks into a room and shifts the atmosphere without saying a word. But power without purpose is dangerous. You must guard your focus like a gatekeeper. You must ask yourself daily, what am I building this strength for? Because strength without direction becomes self-destruction. You can't afford to let your fire burn aimlessly. The same mind that can conquer fear can also destroy itself if left untamed. That's why you must channel it into something meaningful, something that demands the best of you. Greatness isn't about dominance, it's about direction. Every ounce of energy must serve something greater than your comfort. That's how legends are made, not by chasing attention, but by aligning power with purpose. And here's the truth most will never accept. The higher you rise, the lonelier it gets. Not because you're unlovable, but because few are willing to endure the silence that success requires. They need noise. You need focus. They need reassurance. You need results. That's the price of mastery. The distance between who you were and who you're becoming. But that solitude is sacred. It's where your vision sharpens. It's where your thoughts crystallize into action. It's where you stop being a follower and start becoming a force. And once you embrace it, you'll never crave company for the sake of comfort again. The world doesn't reward those who wait to feel ready. It rewards those who move while terrified, those who act before the plan is perfect, those who bet on themselves when no one else does. Because the truth is, no one is coming to save you. No one is coming to believe for you. If you don't build your own mind, someone else will shape it for you, and they'll do it to serve their interests, not yours. That's why you must take ownership of your thoughts, your emotions, your life. The second you do, everything changes. You stop being a passenger. You become the driver. This is the moment to double down, to stop waiting for the right time and start creating it. Every second you hesitate is another second lost to mediocrity. Every excuse is another chain wrapped around your potential. You've come too far to let weakness whisper you back to comfort. Stand firm. Move forward. Let your discipline speak when your motivation fades. Let your purpose guide you when fear screams the loudest. That's how you build a mind that can't be broken. A mind that silences doubt, commands respect, and paralyzes everything that dares to stand in its way. Because once you master your inner world, the outer world has no choice but to follow. You felt the edge before, the moment when your mind tells you to stop, but something deeper whispers to keep going. That whisper is your power. It's the voice that knows what you're capable of before you do. Most people never listen to it. They stop at discomfort. They retreat when the pressure builds and they call it logic, but you know better. You've learned that the mind breaks before the body does. That fear screams loudest right before you're about to level up. And when you push through that noise, something inside you changes forever. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop needing reassurance. You start realizing that the world bends to those who refuse to quit. Every obstacle you faced was never meant to stop you. It was meant to show you who you are without your comfort. Pain wasn't your enemy, it was your initiation. Every moment of doubt, every rejection, every setback was fuel disguised as failure. It wasn't there to destroy you. It was there to strip away the parts of you that couldn't carry the weight of greatness. That's why you suffered. That's why you struggled. Because you were being refined, not ruined. And now the person standing in your reflection isn't the same one who started this journey. They've seen too much, lost too much, grown too much. You're not just surviving anymore, you're evolving. But evolution demands sacrifice. You can't hold on to who you were and still become who you're meant to be. You have to let go of the habits that keep you average, the people who drain your energy, the excuses that keep you safe. You have to choose discomfort over familiarity, solitude over noise, growth over approval. That's the trade. That's the price. And most will never pay it because they're addicted to ease. They want the reward without the risk, the strength without the struggle. But not you. You've already proven that you're willing to burn the old version of yourself to build something greater. That's why you're still here, because something inside you refuses to settle. The world doesn't hand power to the deserving, it gives it to the disciplined. To the ones who wake up with purpose when no one's watching, to the ones who grind through the quiet hours when motivation is gone, to the ones who keep moving even when it feels pointless. That's what separates the strong from the forgotten. Every time you act when it's easier to stop, you rewire your mind. You condition it to obey purpose, not emotion. That's how you become unstoppable. Not through bursts of energy, but through relentless repetition. Through the small, unseen moments that no one applauds but everyone eventually feels. And here's the truth that changes everything. Most people are afraid of what you've already conquered. They're terrified of silence. You've learned to live in it. They crumble under pressure. You've learned to thrive there. That's what makes you different. That's what gives your presence weight. You've turned pain into precision, chaos into calm, fear into focus. That's the kind of strength that doesn't fade. It compounds, it multiplies, it becomes your identity. You're not pretending anymore. You are the thing you once looked up to. Now it's about direction. Power without purpose is a loaded weapon in the wrong hands. You've built the fire, now you decide where to aim it. You can't waste it proving people wrong. You can't waste it explaining yourself to those who've already made up their minds. You must rise above the noise and pour your focus into creation. Build something that outlives you. Build a legacy, not attention. Every moment you waste seeking validation is energy stolen from your potential. You already know what you're capable of. Now it's time to show the world through action, not words. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand so firm in your truth that others start questioning theirs. You were meant to make people uncomfortable, not by shouting, but by existing as proof of what's possible. That's what a strong mind does. It doesn't chase control, it embodies it. It doesn't seek respect, it earns it through stillness. When you walk into a room, the energy shifts because you built something most people never will. A mind that commands its own reality. And once you reach that level, no opinion, no failure, no storm can shake you. Because you've already faced the worst. And you didn't break, you adapted, you rose, you became the storm. Strength isn't built when everything goes your way. It's forged in the moments when the world feels against you. When silence becomes your only companion. When the path forward looks impossible but you move anyway. That's where unbreakable minds are born, in the fire of resistance. You've felt it before, that pull between comfort and purpose, that quiet voice that tells you to rest when you know you should rise. But now you see it for what it is, temptation disguised as peace. And every time you push through it, every time you choose progress over comfort, you take another step into mastery. That's how you separate yourself from the masses, not through talent, not through luck, but through relentless self-command. The truth is, most people never learn to control their minds because they've never needed to. They live soft lives wrapped in distractions, running from the very discomfort that would make them powerful. They've mistaken comfort for happiness. You've seen where that leads, to mediocrity disguised as contentment. But you're not here to be content. You're here to be capable. You're here to develop a mind so strong that nothing external can shake it. That means discipline when you're tired, focus when you're distracted, purpose when you're surrounded by noise. That's what strength looks like. It's not loud, it's deliberate, it's not emotional, it's surgical. And as that strength grows, people will start to look at you differently. They'll sense something in you that they can't define, a kind of stillness that makes them uneasy. They'll wonder why you don't react like they do, why your silence carries more weight than their words. What they won't understand is that you've killed the version of yourself that needed validation. You've built a fortress in your mind that no opinion can penetrate. That's what power really is, the ability to stay centered when everything around you is chaos. When others flinch, you observe. When they break, you breathe. That's when you realize how rare true control is and how magnetic it becomes. But the more you grow, the more life will test your foundation. The universe doesn't reward words, it rewards action. Every promise you make to yourself will be challenged. Every standard you set will be measured. You can't fake strength under pressure. The truth of who you are will always surface when things get hard. That's why most never make it. They talk about greatness until it requires isolation. They want focus until it demands sacrifice. They want strength until it hurts. But you've already accepted the cost. You've already paid in discomfort, in doubt, in sleepless nights spent wrestling with yourself. That's what makes you unstoppable. The willingness to endure what others avoid. Now it's time to weaponize that discipline. Turn it into something tangible. Use it to build, to create, to move. Because all the strength in the world means nothing if it stays trapped inside you. Power is wasted without purpose. You have to direct it. You have to decide who you're becoming and then move like it's already done. That's how vision becomes reality, not through hope, but through consistency. Every day you sharpen your mind, every day you act when others hesitate, you're rewriting the script of who you are. You're showing the world what control looks like. But understand this, control isn't about suppressing emotion. It's about mastering response. You still feel pain, frustration, fear, but you don't let them dictate your path. You use them, you channel them, you turn them into fuel. That's what separates warriors from wanderers. Most people feel and freeze, you feel and move. That's what makes you unstoppable. Because no matter what hits you, you've already decided that nothing can take your focus. Not circumstances, not opinions, not doubt. This is the moment where everything shifts. The moment you stop being a product of your environment and start shaping it, the moment your discipline becomes your identity, people will feel it before they understand it. They'll pause when you walk in, not because you demand attention, but because you embody control. That's the paradox of true strength. It doesn't need to prove itself. It simply exists, undeniable and immovable. And when you reach that point, when your mind becomes the calm within every storm, you'll understand what real power feels like. It's not about domination. It's about peace. The kind of peace that paralyzes everything that tries to shake it. The kind of peace that only a mind forged through fire can hold. The moment you realize that no one is coming to save you is the moment everything changes.